Many days on the water begin with a clue, but no definitive plan. We start with a general idea of how to proceed based on past experience, and then we see where the fishing leads. Every day is a new experiment. Now, in this case, we're on a small Texas reservoir that we've never seen before. Let's get in on the action.
Aha! Nice way to start the day. Sets the tone for the day right there. We're on a little reservoir and we could be anywhere in the United States. So just trying to get a pattern going, and we'll show you what really has worked for us across the country when you're looking for multiple species. Back you go, guy. Late fall, water temperature on this reservoir is 52 degrees this morning. Probably warm up a little bit as we go through the day. And to start with, I've got a small crankbait on here. This happens to be a rattling, suspending shad wrap, one of the all-time classic baits right there. It's a number 5, so it's great size for crappies, but largemouths in the fall will love this a lot of times. So just trying to put a pattern together. There we go. Grab them like that. Aren't they beautiful? Wow. And they love those small crankbaits from time to time, especially if you get into the south. And in fact, you see this sort of as a pattern that, you know, goes from north to south. In that, when you get that first real crash of water temperature, where in the south it goes from, the 60s into the 50s like we have here. And again, this is late November, so it would be pretty typical. Boy, he did have that in there. Short, stocky, beautiful fish. Nice small reservoir bass right there. Should be some bigger fish in here. We'll keep looking. Nice healthy fish. You know, small crankbaits aren't really my style, but I'll tell you what, from time to time, especially if you're also looking for crappies, they really do the job a lot of times. Especially, again, in the fall, when you get that first big crash, water temperature takes a big dive. Sometimes if you just fine-tune down a little smaller, that'll do the trick. Well, we'll keep searching here. 2 fish does not a pattern make, but it's a start. Here we are. Up and in. Whoa, that's a nice bass. Getting bigger. Ha-ha! And what I had done there is continue to fine-tune going to the swim bait. Beautiful fish, aren't they? Just as clean. Look at that. Very nice. Down and away. Scooting down there. And we went from, you know, I've been continuing to fine tune. You know, every day you get on the water and you've got an idea, then you see what the water is actually like and you make a little bit more fine-tuned choice. We started with those lipless crankbaits and the classic shad wrap, the number 5, which is a little bit on the small side. They would not go for the lipless baits, which was a real surprise for me. So thinking that maybe I should go a little bit bigger and a little bit deeper, because depth control is always the first priority, and then how you're working the bait is second, the speed you're working it at. But they did not want the bigger shad wrap. So I continued to throw the smaller one, and then I thought, well, let's go to the swim bait for a little bit, because the third thing in importance in many cases is not so much, well, it's depth and then speed and then vibration. So you've got a little bit different profile here, but you've got, you know, instead of the tight wobble of the crankbait, which is a real classic during the fall, you've got the little bit wider wobble, the slower swimming wobble of the swim bait. And I'm going to fine tune this a little bit too as we go. Feels good. Oh yeah, beautiful. Big fish. Ah-ha! I didn't know if we'd get on the crappies at all or not. Pretty random though. That's the first one of the day. But maybe they'll start. And again, on these waters that you don't know, it's nice to be using baits that can go both ways. So a big white crappie like this, that's a 5-inch swim bait, but they don't have any trouble eating that whole thing, as you can see, right like that. That is a big mouth. Beautiful fish too, right there. Wow, aren't they beautiful? Well, we're gonna keep fishing on the bass pattern. We'll see what happens. You never know. We might start getting into them here. go. Oh, big bass. Nice bass, man. Come on. In here. There we go. There's our fish of the day. Wow. And on the swim bait, I had gone to the 4-inch hollow belly, first, and I wasn't getting bit, so I just went bigger to the 5-inch hollow belly. And the reason I sometimes go from the flatback shad to the hollow belly is because this is just a lot more realistic than the flatback shad, and it also, when you rig it right, it wobbles a lot more on the fall, so you can fish it lift, drop, fall. And I've got it rigged flat, as you can see. It works great like that. Well, look at that fish. Beautiful, huh? So you start out with a notion about what's in the lake and how you're going to approach it. You fine-tune as you go. It's depth first, speed second, and then work on the wobble and the profile of the lure. And I do damage with those swim baits all across the country. And you might think, end of November, too late? No, never with the swim bait if you've got open water. And that crankbait did its job to find us fish and get us going.